und fegen alle diese Untermenschen von der Erdkarte.
Shit, this just keeps getting better and better. We are the promise delivered to all mankind. We raise our hands to one nation. We march to the beat of one heart. The world is sick, and we are the doctors.
Wir sehen uns in Valhalla.
Well, this is the Red Room Reviews review of the movie Iron Sky. How's it going, Dave?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm Lindsey, as always. We recently watched the 2012 release of the movie Iron Sky. Dave, give me the little synapse of what Iron Sky is all about.
Well, first of all, Iron Sky is essentially a movie assuming that the some of the Nazis escaped justice at the end of World War II and moved to the dark side of the moon. And there they continued running the Third Reich from the back side of the moon.
Oh, the Fourth Reich.
Yeah, the Fourth Reich in the movie. That's true. Unbeknownst to the knowledge of people on planet Earth.
Okay. Now, this movie it definitely asks you to suspend reality. And it does.
It's a little bit of suspension of reality.
A little bit.
A lot of it. Yeah.
Okay, a lot of it. The movie takes place in the year 2018. So the near future, and Sarah Palin is president. They don't say Sarah Palin over her name, it's her. It's completely Sarah Palin. There's no denying that's who they're portraying that as. Give me your just overall theme? What did you think of the movie?
Okay, my thoughts.
Overall,
well, first of all, I actually enjoyed the movie, and the reason I enjoyed the movie is because it made fun of itself. It knew it was a piece of crap. It knew that it was not to be taken seriously from a science fiction standpoint, and it made a lot of jokes. Now,
do you really think the jokes? I think 98% of the jokes fell through. Personal opinion.
I thought most of them pretty solid. I like the characterization of the woman who was essentially a characterization of President Palin.
Oh yeah.
So that I thought was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of jokes with the black guy in it, where he was, they turned him whiteface, and they had him talk to some dudes playing ball in the street, and he was all trying to be all cool and smooth, and that didn't go well because he was wearing a Nazi uniform and he was white.
see, okay. I think a lot of this movie, I think personal feelings for me is, I think you're right. They for a while they did know who they were. They're like, hey, we're poking fun at ourselves. This is not it's not meant to be serious. But there's there's multiple tonal changes in this movie that don't fit in, and it bothered me. And you can do movies always have tonal changes. You have to change the tone. It doesn't go well. It goes from being we're goofy, no, we're sci-fi, no, we're action, no, we're going to have a little bit of heart at the end, and it doesn't fit into me. And also, this is some of the worst, and I do mean worst, dialogue. It goes from being generic. Like, here's the thing: within 5 minutes of the movie, I knew did the brother being, yo man, watch out, homie. Oh shit. Oh no, they got me. Oh shit. Like very generic, bro. Like it's like I just think of 70-year-old white guys thinking like, how do we write a black person down? They talk like this, and then I wonder why he didn't say sucker. And he might have said sucker. He might have said you jive turkey. But they used very generic lingo for him. Then for the Germans, which most of these people are not German in this movie, and I think the director is actually like Spanish or something like that. They use every like generic like German word, Valhalla. Oh yes, Blitzkrieg. They like it's kind of reminded me of what's the Star Trek writer's name? Brandon Braga. Brandon Braga had a problem, especially in the Voyager years, of every time they mentioned a creature, he had to remind you, hey, by the way, it's in space. And that's what I felt like this guy did. He was like, oh, yeah, remember, they're Germans, but they're not Germans. They're Germans in space. Brandon Braga used to do this thing where he was like, man, that's bigger than a Tarkarian beast. because they had to put Tarkilian in it, so you're like, oh, it's not just a beast, it's an alien beast. Well, that just sounds damn ridiculous. And this movie has some of those problems too. And
it's funny that they never ever mention like an animal from Earth or anything like that. You know?
No, because it always has to be like
it has to make it like,
or
we're in space.
It's not just wine; it's like Tarkilian wine. Like okay, we get it. We're in space, and I think like this movie was like, it's German. Look at this, Nazi symbols. Haha, it's German. Oh yes, they're only showing parts of The Dictator by Charlie Chaplin, and it's to me, it's the movie fails building real character development, and it's kind of funny. Like the movie opens up with this really good CG screen. Actually, the CG, this movie cost $7.5, actually about $9 million to make, 9.7 million American dollars to make, and you can tell most of that went to CG because that beginning CG shot looked amazing. I was like, man, this is, and actually I had bad feelings going into this movie, but the first shot, even though the music was kind of iffy, but that first shot I was like, this looks really good. Really good.
Right.
Like I'm surprised they got, for this kind of movie, they got this good CG out of it. Like literally about an hour into, not even an hour, about 15-20 minutes into the movie, the CG changes and it gets crappy. I don't know if you noticed that. It totally changed. Like they probably blew their budget in that beginning scope.
Well, I thought the ending scene was actually pretty well done in terms of CG.
I think, but if the middle, the CG in the middle, it gets really cheap, and you can tell it really quick. Like hey, we use a ton of our money, but
I would say this in terms of kind of touch base with you on tonal changes. It did get. What killed me on the movie was at the end it tried to do a commentary about
World War II.
Greed
yes.
and war, and how like Americans were claiming that they were going to do this and that started a nuclear war, and I'm going, okay, so these guys went and did all this stuff to save the Earth from the Nazis, and we blew ourselves up with nukes right after.
Yes, and the problem is it also did parallel at the very end. It does parallel what at the end of World War II. If you can look at the parallels of what's going on at their headquarters. Yeah. And I was like,
you're either a comedy or you're a serious
exactly.
commentary.
And like, it had a problem with tonal changes. And I don't. This is the director's. He's never made a big movie. This is his like third movie, and you can tell that it's not, for me at least, this movie fails from having original script, original dialogue. And do you have a good feel of any of the characters in this?
No one seemed realistic.
No, I don't mean realistic. I mean like besides, like, do you have a feel of their real motivation? Like the girl who plays the main protagonist, her name is Renee Richer. Like she's
go down the list, the first part of the list here. Renee Richer, what's her motivation?
Her motivation is unknown. She starts off as she's a teacher at this on the moon base, and she loves socialism, and she's a socialist, and she's all hooray socialism.
National socialism. There's a big difference, by the way. Yes.
But she's all hooray, hooray, hooray. They don't say national socialism. She says socialism in the movie, so I'm just going with what she says.
Well, anyway.
I know the true dialogue, but she's all like hooray, 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 and then she meets this black guy, which she automatically eye bangs him in his eye for some reason. And then, but you don't really get like they never show you the true character development. You know what the funny thing is? They spent so much setting up the plot, they don't spend any time with the characters. Did you notice that? Like
they didn't.
When she comes to this big reveal that hey, Nazis were bad. It just happens in a second. Yeah. They show her walking into a movie theater and walking out and saying, well, Nazis are bad.
Yeah, 1 minute. I mean, I will say this. I can buy the naivete of that character because I think that was common in
Germany in that
Third
time,
Reich.
yes.
Yeah, so I can buy that. So I'm gonna allow that. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna charge a penalty for the fact that she all of a sudden, if she's such a devoted Nazi and she sees one black guy, is she going to start, disobeying orders? Because it was clear that they were trying to keep this guy, under wraps. So, moving on, James Washington.
This guy's played by Christopher Kirby. Oh yeah, and by the way, the main character is played by Julia Dietz. She is actually a French actress, and she's this thing's French. So
she was very attractive, though.
She was very attractive, and she did Germany pretty well, but she's actually French, and she played with a German accent, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
This Christopher Kirby guy.
There was a lot of real German.
There was good amount of Germans in this.
Real German dialect too.
Yeah,
in terms of actually hearing the language.
I don't know how real the dialect
James
was,
Washington,
played by Christopher Kirby, he was actually a Muser in the Matrix. He was in both Matrix.
Who?
He was Muser. He was in the
Muser.
Matrix. Yeah.
Who's Muser?
He was a character in both Matrix.
Mauser?
Mauser.
Oh my gosh.
No, Mauser was the little kid. I think it's supposed to be Muser like that.
Was he in the original? Wait, hold on.
He was in
Scroll
Revolutions
down a little further.
and Reloaded. That's all he was in.
Oh, he wasn't in the first one.
No.
Okay, then never mind.
He's not Mauser was the kid that the little
I don't
kid.
even remember the second and third Matrix.
He was on the ship.
Hey, he was in episode 3.
Yes. He was this guy in episode 3. I'll show you the picture of it. I looked this up. I looked this up yesterday. Yeah, this guy's been in tons of stuff. Is just a backup, as an ancillary character.
Okay, all right.
So good for him getting his.
Good for him. Yeah, I mean.
But he doesn't act. Okay, nobody does a good acting job in this movie. I'm sorry.
No, there was no one that really kind of.
No offense, they had nothing to work with, but this is. I couldn't say anybody had a good acting job.
Yeah. So.
But all his motivation. What is? Tell me his motivation.
To me, they try to do him as the this clearly is a backup character. His motivation is it's unclear. I mean, he comes off as a guy who's wrong place, the wrong time.
Yeah, well, he's a
model. That I can buy.
Well,
I can buy the intro.
His story is he's a model that they sent to the moon for publicity. And
this movie kind of paints America in a really bad light.
Well,
by the way.
he comes here for publicity, and he's there, and they changed since he's black, and they automatically just changed him white because that's what the Nazis did to black people. They changed us. They changed us white.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Remember when we were watching Red Tails and that guy got shot down, and I'm like, dude, you're black. You got caught by the Nazis. That ain't good.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same kind of thing, you got Klaus Adler, which is the male lead, I guess.
Who's the
second lead?
Whose only motivation is that he wants to be the new Fuhrer.
Yeah,
it's his only motivation, and that one's the only one I can slightly believe with because he is.
No, I have a problem with this character. I'll tell you why. If you were so engraved into that type of culture. That and I guess I'm getting maybe I'm digging too deep into this movie. Yeah, but you're so ingrained to that. There's a scene. Movie. There's a scene where the lady they get to Earth, and a lady kind of like, oh, this look doesn't work for you. Let's try this. And so he's not wearing his uniform for a good chunk of the movie. Really, you want to be the Fuhrer, the new Fuhrer, and you're like just running around like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of struck me as odd. And second of all, they had we're going to do a secret mission on Earth. But we're going to go down in our full uniforms with the armbands and the whole 9 yards. Really?
Well, this whole movie,
you'd have to have
the idea. The problem, the big. We can stop going through all the characters. Yeah. But the big problem is that every one of these characters, they don't act like human beings would act.
They're cardboard cutouts.
They're cardboard cutouts, and it's just and the movie feels very cardboard of that, and it falls flat. Like I said, nobody really shines. Everybody has some weird, quirky. They're stereotypes of a personality, not really one personality. They're people with just one mindset, and that's it. The main character, Renette Reicher, she's a heart. That's all she has. She's a bleeding heart. Christopher, he's a face who's in the wrong situation at the wrong time. The Klaus Adler guy, he just wants to be dictator, and then the former dictator is just a douchebag. They don't really give him any backstory at all.
They really don't. And then they make a point.
Who's that guy? You've seen him in everything. His name is Udo Tyler.
Udo.
Udo, you've seen him in everything. He's been in. The guy was in Blade. He
was a vampire.
Every time you need him, a generic person, a generic German guy, he's the guy you go to.
He's your guy.
Generic German guy. Oh, this guy. So.
All right, but so and here's the thing. So that's the bad parts. The things I did like though, and I will say this. I am beating up. No, I'm beating. No, listen.
Let me say one thing. All right. I was literally within 30 minutes. I was thinking it was slow. First of all, the movie starts off pretty damn slow. I was about to turn the movie off. I was like, man, I had to remove. If I didn't have to review this movie, I would have turned it off. It was that, to me, dialogue was bad, the stereotypes are bad, and it was boring for the first 30 minutes of this movie. Actually, give me one exciting part of the movie besides the very end. It was boring. If you watch the previews of the movie, like there's things blowing up and Nazis. First of all, you only see really 3 Nazis the whole time.
You see more than that.
You
see more than that. You see troops. You see shock troops and stuff.
How many times did you see shock troops?
A few scenes. A few
scenes in the whole movie.
It wasn't, but okay. So
they should. If it was a full invasion of Earth with like ground troops and Nazis, that would have been cool. It was more of the two people, Klaus and Renette, spend most of the time just hanging out with the campaign manager for the president.
Yeah. That is the slow part of the movie. Here's the thing. A movie does not have to be good to be entertaining. Now, would I watch it again? No.
Hell no.
It was boring.
I wouldn't watch it.
I don't think it's the worst movie I've ever saw.
Oh no, it's not.
I had some good laughs at it. I watched it with my girlfriend. We laughed.
You know, the only
there
time
were some good jokes, like the scene where like they said, okay, you know, like they were the United States got up there with some sort of a spaceship that was weaponized. And then here comes Russia with theirs, and Japan with theirs, and all these other countries. And the president goes, who, you know, like, didn't we have a contract or a treaty to say that you weren't supposed to weaponize space ships? And, you know, and then she goes, who didn't do that? And Finland raises their hand. That was funny to me.
There was that, you know, I did not laugh until the very end of the movie, and I'll tell you when. We'll get there.
All right.
But you know, one thing, this is totally off subject. This girl who plays she plays Peta Sargent. She plays the campaign manager for the president. You know, she looks so much like Ashley Tisdale. I thought it was for Ashley Tisdale forever. She looks. Don't you think she looks like an older version of Ashley Tisdale? You know who Ashley Tisdale is, don't you?
No.
Son of a bitch. Well, this girl, I was looking at this girl. I was like, man, who the hell? Why does she look so much like? I know Ashley Tisdale's too young to play this role. And I was like, man, this girl looks exactly like Ashley Tisdale.
Yeah, it looks just like that same person.
Hold on for 1 second. Let me find the picture that looked. I was looking at a picture back to back of them, and it looks ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow. Just
shut up for 1 second.
They're clones.
Shut up. Let me get you. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, hold on, guys.
All right, we're getting a lot of dead air here.
Well, you keep talking, son of a bitch.
Well, I mean, but anyway, so I don't see, like, listen, it's not the best movie in the world. I would have been a little bit more upset had I had to pay for it. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
I did not.
I will tell you that I do agree with you in the fact that it got slow, because I remember looking at thinking, hey, this movie's almost over. And I looked at the timer. I'm like, shit, I still got 30 minutes left on this. You know?
Yeah, it does get. I mean,
and the characters. Yeah, like I said, you had the one girl who she was trying to hump everybody in the movie, the campaign manager, and then she ends up not getting humped by the campaign manager. And she has a grudge. I mean, the campaign by the main Nazi guy. I'm sorry. So like,
you don't tell me those two look like. You don't tell me those.
There's some similarities, but you really had to dig,
dude. No,
I don't think anyone else is going to make that comparison.
Dude, she looks like Ashley Tisdale. I don't care what you're talking about. She does.
No, not that much.
She looks like an older version of her.
Oh, she's cute, though. I was saying, how old is she?
She's probably in her 30s.
Oh, she's pretty then.
They look a lot alike. She looks a lot like.
Except for that picture was bad, but everything else.
Look,
is good.
You tell me they don't look like the same person.
All right, we were getting way off topic.
No, just stop. You tell me that Ashley Tisdale and this Peta Sargent.
No, they don't. They look similar.
Oh, you're
but
bullshit.
Just because two people are brunettes does not mean that they're the same freaking person.
I do think.
All right, so let's get going. Let's keep going with this because we've got way off.
Well, let's back when I was saying the movie's slow. It gets bogged down by stupid dialogue. They're trying to give you this backstory about these people, about how great socialism is, National Socialism, and basically at the end of the movie, nothing fucking happens. There's a war. They bring the space Nazis. We kick their butts, and they have a big ship that the main protagonist, I mean, the main antagonist dies by a shoe to his head. That was
pretty big.
That's how the movie says, yeah, we don't give a fuck. He dies by a shoe to a head. The guy gets
and he stumbles around for like what seems to be an eternity.
And you know how they do Hail Hitler? They do their arms out. The guy gets electrocuted because he does Hail Hitler because the girl says it to him. That stuff is ridiculous.
That was,
and it's like a lot. Instead of doing this, he does this and gets electrocuted.
The thing is I saw it as kind of a comedy.
Yeah, but at that point.
But again, here's the thing. Here's my criticism. Funny. Decide if you're going to be a comedy or if you're going to be serious or be commentary on the human condition. Okay. And it tried to do all three, and it failed.
Yeah, and let me give you this really quick I know this is supposed to be fictitious and funny, but okay, Nazis come to how do Nazis get to space in 1944?
Well, okay. Here's the thing: they had the V2 rocket back then. They could have gotten to space
To the
because
moon?
the V2 rocket was eventually what led to the Saturn rocket. And this is a little bit of history for you guys, by the way.
Okay, thanks,
so
Dave.
because Vernon von Braun came over here
Okay.
after World War II, and he invented the V2 rocket. So I could believe that.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
whether or not they have the technology to actually stay there,
And
that's
did you see the space suits in the beginning? They're just like regular suits with like gas masks.
Well, and there's some big science fiction faux pas that happen, like when the airlock gets open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And-
they live.
And they live, yeah, and they're out, and
They're exposed to space.
It's like, hey, let's just hold our breath, and then we can.
you would freeze to death. But
You'd freeze. Your blood would boil. I mean, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to try to pick it apart because, again, I think it's trying to be
But
fun.
it's trying to be fun,
it's
but
such a heavy. I'm sorry. Who says, okay, I want to do it, Lindsay? Let's do a comedy. It's going to be about Nazis.
But here's the thing: TOS did Space Nazis, and it was actually pretty funny and good. It was good. They did. There's already. If you want to watch a sci-fi about space Nazis, watch the the TOS Space Nazi episode. Let me get the name of that episode. I can't remember the name of it.
Space hippies. Space seed is like elevator to space. What the hell are you looking for? Elevator to space Nazi.
What?
It looks like it says patterns of force.
Okay, that's the name of the episode. Pattern of force.
Yeah.
So, there's already been a good Star Trek space Nazi.
TOS.
There's already been a good movie, sci-fi of space Nazis, and this is not a good one. There's so many plot holes. There's so many problems with it. It doesn't work.
There's a lot of plot holes,
especially with like they bring a big ass armada of ships, and we don't have any type of
I did
satellite.
like how we had our ship was called the USS George W. Bush.
Yeah,
it was funny in that regard.
Yeah,
those
are not funny to me. Like,
well, okay. Here's the thing: the movie came out. I would have given it a pass had the movie come out and say 09.
I would give that movie
or 10.
I would give this movie a
But
pass if it came out in
this movie came out-
1970.
No. I'm talking about some of the jokes. This movie came out in 2012. Okay, we've already had 2 elections. Bush has been out of office for over 4 years.
Correct.
And, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like,
Well,
those jokks aren't really relevant. It'd be like me cracking a joke about a show that got canceled, in the late 90s.
yeah. Well, here's a couple things. Cinematography was actually damn good in this movie.
Yeah,
I had no problems with the shots of it. I had no problems with
the CGI. I liked.
Again, it started off good. It failed in the middle, and then it got back at the end. It's almost like they got 2 different people.
I'm not even sure what you were talking about in the middle. That was
it
bad
got
for
really.
CGI.
It looked like it almost looked like painted back. It looked like oil paintings in the back. It looked really fake and flat. It looked really bad, and it looked like to me that they spent their money on the beginning and the end, the two biggest parts of the movie, and everything else was they got a cheap. They did it on the cheap. All in all, the music was awful. I thought awful. There's a scene. I can't remember the song. But there was a scene they're playing music that made no sense. What's the song? Dun, 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 dun. It was like
the Flight of the Valkyries.
Yeah, they're doing that in a scene. They're doing that in a scene that made no sense. Like
I think that's the German composer.
But it was the apprentice looking at finding ways to win the election before she even met the Germans.
Yeah.
It just happened to know. Like, that's stupid. It didn't fit that. It didn't fit that time. Do that when the Germans are marching. That would have been perfect. It didn't. To me, it didn't really work out very well. The movie, all in all, I wouldn't watch this movie again. I'd give this a 1, and that's only like out of 5. I'd give it a 1. It's Netflix ranking. And this is on Netflix. I'd give it a 1. I would say stay away from it on most points. Like, it's not a fuck you. It's not a bullshit. It's not a 0 to. But it's like there's no point of watching this movie. Unless I didn't laugh at all. I got a couple chuckles at the very end. But that was about it. One thing. I'm sorry. I'll just speak. One thing that really bothered me. We have these nuclear bombs, and we drop them on a station, and people live. We drop like tons of nuclear bombs. Like she drops 7 or 8 nuclear bombs. That would almost blow up the moon.
Well, the moon's kind of big, but yeah, it definitely would have had a pretty big effect on the base. It didn't destroy the whole base.
It didn't. Yeah, and it was like, dude,
it was like conventional bombs.
Yeah. Like you drop 15, you drop 7 or 8 nuclear bombs on anything, it's gone.
Yeah,
you don't have people just walking around like, oh, we got nukes dropped on us.
I would rate this as watch if you're really bored. Catching it on Netflix. Don't pay anything. Certainly wouldn't be worth watching. Wouldn't have been watching in the theater. Of course, we are reviewing a movie that's been out for a little while, but I would probably give it a 1.5 or a 2. I didn't think it was the best movie I ever saw. It was worth a few laughs. My girlfriend and I have a few, quotable lines back and forth and a couple chuckles. But was it really? I don't know if it was a good, fair investment of an hour and a half.
Nope. I want my time back. Give me my time back, bitches.
Yeah. I'd say what I would do is this is a movie you watch if you're waiting for your clothes to dry at the laundromat and you got your cell phone with you and you got Netflix on it.
If it's the only movie that would load up. Only, and I might just look at my laundry instead. It might be more interesting looking at your laundry, honestly.
I think
this movie was boring. I think it was boring, slow, and the jokes for me fell through for the most part. I got the jokes. It's not that I'm not. The jokes were simple.
It's not like they're super. Like,
they were simple. They were out there. They're like, oh, George W. Bush. Sarah Palin. Like, yeah, I get these jokes, but I don't find them very funny. Like she was saying, well, everybody knows if you're a wartime president, you always get reelected. Yeah. Okay, I heard this joke. Back when Bush was president in 2008, and when I don't really laugh anymore about this.
Yeah.
It's not very funny.
Like I said, it's like somebody cracking a joke about something from the 90s.
Yeah, Bill Clinton getting a blowjob.
Yeah, like, oh, Monica Lewinsky. And you're like, listen, this is way past.
This movie feels out of date. I have really no good things to say about this movie, but if you like it, you like it, man. You like what you want. It's like
I'm not defending it. I'm not saying I love the movie.
Let's be honest. We're not that far away. You're giving it 1.5, 2. I'm giving it 1 star. It's not like we're
No. It's not like I'm saying it's a 5, and I'm going to buy the collector's edition.
Now this movie came out in, like I said, in last year. It only brought in domestically $122,000.
So America did not.
Didn't watch this movie.
The Europeans
Europeans brought in about $8 million for Europeans. But it sold was $9 million. So they lost money. There will not be an IronSky 2.
There doesn't need to be one.
And there doesn't need to be one. The movie ends funny. It ends with commentary.
The ending is awful.
The ending. So they launch a big attack against Earth. We kick their ass, which it should be a second because they're using shit from the 40s and 50s, and we're using new shit. So we kick their ass pretty quickly. But they have this one big monster ship.
Yeah.
But what runs that monster ship? What keeps that monster ship going, Dave?
A tablet.
Basically an iPad.
Yeah.
So the whole ship is run by an iPad.
Yeah, that's the premise is that it has more computing power than any kind of computer they have on there. But again, they make it sound like they retrofit it like within a day or so, and they're ready to roll.
Yeah. Even though this thing can blow up a big chunk of the moon, and they're going to blow up part of the Earth to kill everybody.
Right.
Which is kind of stupid because you can't.
I can buy the premise on that too. You want to eliminate all the people on Earth and then land your people on there, and then you could have your Third Reich or whatever, or Fourth Reich or whatever the hell they're doing.
But again, so that's the premise, and then we bomb their homes, but they live. Obviously, they live with nukes, and you see the girl, our main protagonist. She walks in there, and they're all huddled up in rubble, and they're sitting there, and they get up and they do the little Nazi wave, and she's like, "Don't do that anymore. That's evil. We'll come back, but we'll do it in peace." And it's very reminiscent of. I don't know if you've ever seen any documentaries about what happened after World War II when we left Germany in rubbles after World War II, and they're like basically after World War II they're like, we're never gonna go. You do a Nazi sign there, you might get your ass beat. They don't bring up Nazis.
They don't talk about it. Yeah.
So it's almost like they're like, hey. This is how it happened then.
It makes me wonder who watched this in Europe. It had to, because obviously they didn't show it in Germany.
I bet you they did. Well, maybe they didn't.
No, they didn't.
I doubt it.
No.
But Germany, they have a lot of big places.
One of the reasons why if you get on a multiplayer like with a World War II game that you don't see swastikas is because, or if you buy a video game over there, they don't show that.
Yeah, well, they don't like it. They don't like being reminded.
Understandably so, but that's a serious topic.
Yeah.
No, I would just say to kind of wrap up there. The ending was tried to be a commentary on mankind destroying itself via nuclear weapons.
Which will never happen.
Spare that conversation because this movie is supposed to be kind of a comedy. like or something.
And the very last line pissed me off. I was like, you know, you're kissing a black man. No, she doesn't know she's kissing a black man. Fucking
Really?
ridiculous.
Well, that's also because again they're trying to show that they're Nazis and they're trying
really?
to. Yeah, but I understand that, but it was unnecessary. There was a lot of unnecessary lines in the movie, and there was even one that was like something like there was some funny stuff too. Like
how do they eat? How would they eat for the like?
I don't know. You're overanalyzing. I did like when the guy, the black guy, became a hobo. They said the moon Nazis are coming, and like on the streets and stuff like that. That was pretty funny.
I kind of chuckled when they arrested him. Was like, yeah, I'm a black man, so you're a dead black model
who went to the moon, who kidnapped by moon
Nazis that made you white, and they're coming for invasion. That
might have been the best part of the movie.
I chuckled. Like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, that might have been the best part of the movie.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's certainly
stay away from this movie.
Stay away.
Stay away.
Well, unless you're bored.
You watch the trailers.
Bored.
If you watch trailers, it has everything that you probably could want to see.
Watch the trailer. Call it good.
Call it good. Anyway, well, that's our review of IronSky, the 2012 production. Anything else, Dave?
Nope.
All right, guys. Well, peace out.
Only moments ago, New York has come under attack. Witnesses claim to have seen hundreds of UFOs. It's opening fire! Oh my God!
From the dark side of the moon, and we come in peace.
Who are these guys anyway?
Nazis from the moon.
That's too much.